every culture and every person is forever changing. We have communities. As an example, Martin Luther King, a couple of decades ago only, made a beautiful speech about the differences that we are born with in this world of judgments, and how we had, as an example, the black man as the slave of the white dominant male in North America. And that was a really big thing where we changed people's perceptions because one person decided, okay, I've had enough of these judgments, these stereotypes, these ways of constructing life. I want to change that world by simply being myself and speaking my truth. So when we look at, as an example, there's a study in Harvard that was done for over 70 years on hundreds of people. And they asked people what they thought was their number one reason for being happy. And over 100 people voted being famous. And over another 100 people voted being rich. And what they've done is they studied those people over 70 years, and they actually concluded that the number one thing wasn't fame. It wasn't being rich. The number one thing was actually having an authentic relationship with another human being that is not only able to accept you for who you are, but is actually can relate with you on the things that you are. So in every single construct or culture that we live in, as an example, I'm going to take back Middle East. In the Middle East, when you speak your mind, but in a politically correct way, you can actually find people that can resonate with you because you're not the only one who is feeling that those social constructs are allowing you to live in fear. So once you tap into that emotion, and we know by now that us as human beings, we are emotional creatures. When you tap into that emotion and you know the right way to express it, you will always find someone that will resonate with you amongst those hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, not to consider even millions of people if you're speaking about a certain geographic standpoint. So knowing that we are human beings able to connect with each other, that we thrive on authenticity, that we are emotional creatures, and that the number one thing that allows us to find happiness is relatability, we can actually see that once you are able to be confident in your own uniqueness, you can find someone who will also find the courage to follow alongside with you and be comfortable with their own uniqueness. And that's how groups are created. So yes, you can absolutely thrive in a culture that is oppressing you to not be yourself. But you have to have the courage and the passion to go through those judgments, to fight through those criticism, because it's not an easy thing to do, but it's absolutely possible.
Well, within one election, we have come back 50 years for women's rights, for those who are different, whether lesbians, gays, or bisexuals, or transgender, and for minorities, for those people who have a different religion. So everything seems to be going backwards, and people selected this president. I mean, the majority of women voted for him. A lot of the rural areas in every state voted for him. So apparently around that area, people have become less tolerant, or they swallow any little crap they are told and they believe it and they will go along with it. So that is a little bit disturbing that is happening. So this is Jorge Fiala from Chicago, Illinois. We are waiting for the military to come in here because he said that he was going to send it to teach us how to control crime.
Okay, this is a great question. What I'm going to say is that there's a lot of blind folks who feel as though they're not accepted in our society, but I disagree with that because I've been totally blind since birth. I have found folks to become friends with, and also got into the workforce early in life. And I guess maybe I had a leg up because I learned to play the drums at the age of 10. From the age of 10 to 15, I learned it. I play by ear. Always have, still do. Never had a lesson because my mother couldn't afford them. And then when I got into bands and everything, got to the point where I thought, what's the use of doing this? Because all I got to do is listen to the recording of whatever it is and sit down with a set of earphones plugged in to something that's playing it and sit there and go along with it. And it's getting easier and easier because you can use digital recordings now as opposed to scratching up your vinyl, which I used to use cassettes. We used cassettes came in. I would never loan my recordings out because of that. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to here is later got into broadcasting, radio announcing, still dabbling in that today and doing factory work as well. But I know it's more difficult if you've got folks that aren't accepting you, but you can't worry about those who do not accept you, because there's folks out there who will accept you and will become friends with you or give you a chance to go to work or whatever, if you keep looking for it. That's the whole key. It's harder. Sure, it's harder. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's not easy for anyone. There's a lot of people unemployed, and that's just one part of it. And there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason or other, feel rejected by society. But you can't worry about the folks that won't accept you. You got to find the ones who will. And I do believe with all my heart that anyone can survive in this society, even though the deck may be stacked against us because we have a difference of some kind. Our skin is a different color. We have a quote-unquote disability. I don't really like to use that term. I like to use more of an inconvenience. Sometimes it can be inconvenient to be totally blind. But hey, I'm 64 years old now, and I've done it. I've done it well. Had lots of folks helping me out, backing me up, and still do. At work on the job I do now. I do a manufacturing job. My wife does too. The company that we work for is behind us, 1,000%. And, all they expect is that you work hard and do your job to the best of your ability and be willing to learn new things. When new jobs come in, we have to learn how to produce different things. So I've been there 19 years, and I'm still there. I'm still working. There's overtime that comes in. I'm there for a good portion of the overtime. When they offer overtime, I step up and take that as well. But, I just hear a lot of negative stuff about, well, I'm blind and sighted people don't understand me. Sighted people won't talk to me. You have to make the first move. You got to make the first move when you have a quote-unquote minority that you are a part of. I mean, everybody's got something that's different about them. Everybody does, regardless of what it is. It might be the way you speak. It might be the way you might have dyslexia, reading situation. So there's all kinds of things. Race is a big one, a very big one. color of skin is a big one for some people. Shouldn't be that way, but it is. And sad to say, blindness is a big deal to some folks. Some people just can't get past it. They've got all kinds of fears because they feel like they couldn't do something if they were blind or in some kind of a disability situation. So you just have to put your best forward, do your best at all times, get out there and mingle with people. There's no better time than now to network with folks and put your shingle out there, if you will, and show people what you're able to do, and just keep knocking on doors and just keep meeting people, just keep going places, doing things, stay active, and just don't keep the attitude that, oh, well, I can't do this or I can't do this because people are against me. You'll find people out there. There's folks out there that will take you on and befriend you, give you a job, help you out if you're trying to get somewhere. I could go on forever about it. I'm not going to, but I could. So, yeah, I've got a very good attitude about what I think about society in general. I don't pay attention to people who don't want to be around me because I'm blind. People who don't want to get to know me, I can't worry about them. I just have to think about what is and what I'm able to do with folks I do know and the people I meet and how I conduct myself there and win them over and show them that although I'm blind, I'm able to do anything just about that a sighted person can do. And the things I can't do or am unable to do, it's either because I haven't tried to do it or it's something that just requires vision all the way around, requires eyesight. And if it's something like that, then I don't worry about it. I find a way to do the same thing another way or, put it on the shelf and maybe come back to it later, depending on how bad I wanted to do it to begin with. So there's my answer. Have a great day.